She is leading a soccer-infused life. It is Meg Buchan, and she joins me on the Sports Media Podcast. I'm Bryan Fenley. Right now, Meg is Senior Director of Broadcast Production at NWSL, National Women's Soccer League. We're going to have some fun talking about her career, her drive, her ambitions, the power of relationship building, all of that here. A deep conversation, and Meg, I'm thrilled to have you.
Yes, thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
It is great to have you. And I know that you've worked in the freelance world for a long time, and now NWSL is your sole focus. What's that like for that change?
Well, I was freelance for 25 years. So I worked for all networks, all sports. There's not really a sport you can name that I probably haven't dipped my toe into. So I've been with the NWSL now 3.5 years, and I still kind of say that was my first job that I've ever had, my first real job.
Your first real job, but it's not the first time that you've had fun in
No.
what you get to do. How powerful do you feel like the relationship aspect has been for you building that in launching your career and just the trajectory of where it's gone?
Oh my. For me, I think relationships have been the core to everything that I've been able to do in my career. Um, it started by meeting the ESPN Sunday Night Football crew walking down the street in Tempe, Arizona, and creating a relationship with that group. And it led to a 25-year career in sports broadcast.
So relationships are important. What's it like the team environment at the WSL in what it's like in people having to rely on one another, get things done. There's deadlines. You've got production rooms. You've got so many games and so many people that are trying to all get on the same page.
Uh, that's Bringing together a group that can do that is my favorite part of my role. We have 7 games every weekend. So, one of the things that am most proud of is putting the right people in the right places and trusting them to execute. So, we do many of our games out of a studio, NEP South Florida. We do quite a few Remy productions. And down there, we bring in very talented directors and producers. And the group at NEP South Florida helps us with our below the line technical crews. And the culture down there and the passion that each person has for soccer and for their work and their creativity is an awesome thing to be a part of every weekend.
It certainly is, and watching your product has been so much fun too, as certainly the growth is obvious and the potential is limitless. And one of the things that I know you've talked to people and you mentor others in knowing that you give back is that I feel like there's this aura around you where nothing is off the table, that nothing can stop you, and that the ceiling is limitless for people, and just having that mindset. And when you go into the industry thinking like that, like you have, how can one be rewarded in the end?
Whew. I have been consistently rewarded. I'm so very grateful for what this business has brought for me. You know, from the moment I started in 1998, the relationships that were created from that, and then just believing that I was up for the job, but also that there was always something new and good around the corner. And being a part of the freelance world, as anyone has done it, things go away, new people get hired, and you lose maybe a show that you really love doing. But then I learned very early in my career, as doors closed, others soon opened and led me to something that I love even more, or something that taught me something different, or led me to a person that I didn't know. And then all of those things combined to build on everything that led me to, this job with the NWSL.
The belief in yourself, which you just hit on, how have you grown that and use that as such a valuable asset in the formation of your career from beginning to where you are now, and how hard it was at times to have that.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of live TV is showing up and figuring out as you go, right? You don't get to go back and do the same job every day and gradually hone your skills. You're getting thrown into new situations with new people and new sports you may not be completely familiar with, and a new network, and figuring out the way it is. So honestly, I would sum that up as being brave enough to not be perfect is something that I think gives me the confidence to try new things and fail sometimes.
The fearlessness that you exude, how do you want to see that rub off on others around you and how you kind of are there to encourage?
Um, I My favorite part of my job overseeing the productions with the NWSL is showing the people who do our shows that I trust and value them. I believe they're there because I believe in their ability. I believe in their talent. I believe in their creativity. And I believe in the places where they still need to learn or where they might not be 100% that they can get there. And I make sure that they all know that, which then I hope leads them to be fearless and brave and willing to try things.
How early in your life could you remember first being fearless?
Um, I mean, I think I've always been a little fearless. But to tie it to TV, I think walking in that first day for ESPN was the first person that hired me to do a job. I did not know what I was walking into or the role I was going to be doing. I was still in school, so I had no real background, and they told me don't knock on the TV truck door because then they'll know you've never done it before. So just walk in and we'll get you to where you need to be. And be walking into that TV truck as a 22-year-old was terrifying. And I did it.
And you look back and you see that you did it. And how does that feel knowing what that's led to ever since you did that, which wasn't easy, and look where it's ended up?
What an incredible journey it's been. I um I was so bad that day. I don't know why they ever called me back. I had no idea what I was doing. And then 2 weeks later, they called and asked if I wanted to do another game. And then 2 weeks after that, they asked if I wanted to fly to St. Louis and do a game. And it was it has led to this very, very cool life that I've had and gotten to do so many amazing things, all because I was brave enough to walk into that ESPN truck that day.
I would say bravery comes as well in putting yourself out there. The importance of that in this industry, even if somebody's not naturally an extrovert, how much do you feel like that's a really big piece of the puzzle here?
Yeah, I think trusting your putting yourself out there for things where you don't feel 100% qualified for, where you still have a lot to learn is how you learn.
That's a good point.
And asking the right questions. But I think, women especially tend to feel that they need to be 100% qualified to take the next step and the next leap. And I think 70% is okay because if you trust yourself and you're confident, you're going to ask the right questions. You're going to build on the knowledge that you have. And often you have more knowledge than what you think you have.
What you do have is a lot of drive. Where did that drive come from?
Um, I don't, I don't, being passionate. I'm a really passionate person, and I get excited about projects that I'm working on and the people that I work with. And, now the NWSL and those athletes and elevating them and the way that we've grown and we've been able to spotlight the talent has been so rewarding for me. And I think that that's what keeps me moving forward is being excited and passionate about what I get to do.
When you're doing a project, if I'm somebody from the outside and I'm like, you know what, I can tell Meg was working on this project in some way, shape, or form. What can I notice, whether it's something I hear, whether it's a visual, what I see in a piece or in a broadcast, where I'll be like, yeah, I'm pretty sure Meg had something to do with that.
Well, I would want you to ask some other people what they would say, but what my hope is that the people working on the project with me are as excited about it as I am, and that they feel valued, and that they are giving 100% because they know that they're there because what I know they can contribute.
In what you contribute every day, what does in season a day that you're working and all that you have on your plate to work through, what does that look like?
Well, my office part, the week part, during the week part, I manage all the production staff and the talent. So I hire and schedule and all of that for all of our 7 shows, our 7 domestic shows every weekend, and our 7 world feed shows every weekend. And I also work closely with our media partners. So I'm kind of the liaison between what CBS needs and what Prime needs and ESPN, and just kind of making sure that we as a partner are providing them with what they need, any changes or anything like that. I work with our internal staff on, player marketing and what are our important things, what are our tentpole projects that are coming up. Right now, we're shifting our focus to championship and starting that conversation. Um, it's a lot. It's relationships are a big part of what I do during the week. And then on the weekend, I fly to wherever we're doing games, whether it be the studio and oversee games there or an on-site game somewhere for CBS or ABC or Prime.
With all that you're doing, how much are you a visual learner?
Visual learner. Yes, I don't know if I would say visual learner as much as a doing learner.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So what do you mean by that? Just basically the thought is I'm going to take on whatever challenge is in front of me and I'm going to figure this out.
Yes, I'm intuitive. My just naturally, I am quite intuitive and I trust my judgment very well. So sometimes if it's not my specialty, I kind of trust my intuition, judgment, initial thoughts, ask the right questions, move forward, learn from my mistakes, and then build on that.
In building off of what you've been, and that's also a mentor, how much do you want to be an example for other people from the way that you go about your work to the the fearlessness that came going into that production truck for the first time and seeing other people do and move forward into the space that in so many ways it took bravery from your part.
Yeah, I'm always willing to be a mentor, and I hope that by the way that I show up, even if someone doesn't ask for a mentor, I hope that I set a good example. And I hope that I set a tone where if there's, and I know that I set a tone where someone can come to me and say, "Hey, Meg, I'm thinking about doing this," or "Hey, Meg, I got offered a job. I'm freelance right now. how is the transition for you? And hey, do you think that I'm up for the job of doing this opportunity that came up? I I hope everyone that I'm surrounded by feels like they can always use me as that sounding board.
You have done a lot of work in the community. I love that, for example, the Big Brother Big Sister program. And what does it feel like to have been part of something like that?
I I loved being a big I- the, it was so fun to just hang out. That's the thing about Big Brothers, Big Sisters. At first, I kind of put a lot of pressure on myself of what am I going to do? I want to make it cool and I want to think, where am I going to take her? And it only took me a couple visits to realize all she wanted to do was hang out. We would go, we'd get a hot chocolate and we would chat and play a board game or take my dog for a walk in the park. And just to sit and let her feel heard and let her chat about whatever she felt like chatting about, and then maybe give her a little bit of peek into some confidence and some, hold your head up high and, ask questions and all of that. It was really, really a rewarding experience. I'm not currently a big, but it's on my list as soon as, we get settled where we live now.
Definitely, you've been traveling all over the place. And who has been there for you growing up to look at them and say, like you have been for that little, where you can thank others for being there for you?
Oh, so many. I have had so many different people that have shown up at the right time in life. Geez, I had a teacher, the first person that came to mind is a teacher that I had in high school, Bruce Torrey. He, I was not I was a chatty, friendly high school girl that wasn't 100% focused on the classwork. Um, but he saw in me something, and he was consistently encouraging me to pursue opportunities and try something different. And, he led me to an opportunity with a club where I, I always remember him for not just dismissing me as like a chit chatty, blonde high school girl.
The the teachers that do that, I would think that you said it, they see something in you that maybe you don't see.
For sure.
How often do you see things in other people, maybe you work with, you know they have what it takes and they might not see it yet, and part of what you're doing is for them to see what they have within themselves.
I don't even know if I consciously know about doing that. I think I always look for the best, and I hope that when I see that, they do as well. I couldn't speak to that consciously because I don't think I think in that way.
But there is a chance that in there you have, like, people have taken chances on you and you've made the most of them. You've opened the doors for a lot of other people. And I think in exploring that for a second, to think about gratefully how many people that you've assisted, and in doing so, you've given others confidence in which you have, but to share that confidence, how validating and rewarding is that for you in this people business that we're in?
I love to see people surprise themselves. I love it. And one of the things that we work on at the NWSL, we started a few years ago a broadcast boot camp where as we grow, we want to grow our talent pool, but we also want to introduce our current and former players to a post-retirement career in broadcast. And because retiring is a hard decision to make. And to give them a peek at what they could do later helps them, and it gives us an opportunity to meet with players and new potential talent. So, anyway, I went long on that, but every year we invite current and former players to our studios in NEP South Florida, and we basically give them a deep dive into broadcast for a couple days. We set it up where they get to do every production position. They get to be on camera. They get to do interviews. They get to do, halftime reports and do play-by-play and color analysts for live games. And out of that, some that have retired or are thinking of retired have made the transition into the broadcast booth for us. And to take them from looking at them at the beginning of the season to where they are now and to continue the conversation with them and like this was awesome and building up their confidence and letting them know what they're doing great, but then also focus on this or think about this as, on your next match, pay attention to when you say this crutch word and those things and help them grow into. I mean, the people that we're using this year are doing a great job and their growth has been exponential. And so I really love that program that we do.
I can feel your passion. I can totally
Yeah.
feel that this is one of the most passionate things that you are behind. What do the players say about that experience when you get to talk to them about it?
Oh, the feedback. Last year was our biggest one, and the feedback was great. So supportive. My Brian Gordon, my boss,
Mhm.
and I run the program with our producers and our partners at NEP South Florida and their technical crew. And the feedback was, this should be another day long. We'd love to do this again. We're going to tell our friends and just the excitement. They felt supported. They came in feeling nervous and unsure of themselves, and they left feeling supported and confident and with a little bit of clarity about what the future might hold for them after their playing career.
You said the word support. In supporting broadcasts, how do you like to intertwine or place in storytelling? There's the game itself that you're watching unfold, but then there's the stuff that you don't see on screen that might be relevant to the action that's playing out there. And from your perspective, what's it like trying to find those right times and features and different news nuggets and where you f feel like those fit in best? It's also, it depends upon the timing, but feel that those are best utilized in a broadcast.
So for me, you can have the best game, but if viewers and fans don't feel connected to the teams and the players, they're not going to stick around, right? So I think storytelling is key in every broadcast. And especially with the NWSL, with our new media partners and our growth, we're attracting new viewers every match. So being able to have our production staff and our announcers weave in that storytelling in an organic way that just helps bring those viewers and hopefully new fans closer to our players, form connections with them and their teams. That is just as important to me as telling the story of the game.
What stories are you as somebody who is immersed in the field of storytelling? What are the types of stories that you feel best connect with the viewer and would get the most response to say, hey, I am going to support this player now that I know them and I'm going to keep watching?
Well, I think we all love an underdog, right? Any stories of overcoming a challenge and showing up stronger is always something I think everyone likes to hear. The biggest thing I focus on with the NWSL is I want our fans to know our players. I want them to see their personalities and their what's important to them and what gets them really excited or drives them because I think our fans can then relate to them and those things resonate and draw the viewer in closer to the game.
As you're doing that, the numbers continue to grow as far as impressions and views in your broadcast and social media content. How gratifying is it just to see where this thing is, where it's come from, and where it's going?
It's like a rocket ship. It's been so incredible. Um, I think I was the 16th employee in the league office, and we're now up close to 90. We just finished our annual, offsite company meeting, and we went from a tiny room with 19 people at our first one to nearly 90 this year. And the growth is due to every single person that was there, that 19 people, and then the bringing on of more and the dedication of everyone to elevate these athletes in this league and grow it into the best league in the world, basically. Everyone is so dedicated to that. And I think that's what we can attribute it to.
Last question from me. Where do you find that your personality comes out most in what you do?
Um, I have a hard time not having my personality come out.
Not a bad thing.
Um, but my favorite part of what I do is I'm not a spreadsheet girl. I'm not the X's and O's tedium person. My favorite thing that I do is get to work with the production teams, the PR staffs, building relationships with the players and growing the talent and learning from the experienced talent that we have. That's what's most fulfilling to me, and that's the part I love. I do the other stuff, but I really love the people portion of it.
As we wrap up this conversation, you told me before we started, hey, I think I'm going to ramble. You never rambled. They said it all. You were fantastic, and it definitely was. You used the word fulfilling. Fulfilling is definitely what I feel like this conversation was, and I know a lot of people will gain inspiration from it, from your storytelling. Meg Buchan, I'm Bryan Fenley, Meg, Senior Director of Broadcast and Production, NWSL. Meg, thanks so much for taking the time.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.